Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Sonal Bhutra. With me as always is Vivek Iyer. Nifty holding on to those gains. The Bank Nifty though has come up from the highs. The Midcap Index that continues to outperform. But again, it was up more than 200 points at a point in time. So definite, fall from the highs is what we are seeing. But a lot of stock-specific action happening today.
A lot of stock-specific action. All of the indices in the green, barring the Nifty Bank, that's seeing a bit of profit booking. But we have quite a lot lined up on the show, so let's start off with the top headlines. Stocks remain ranged ahead of the crucial inflation print in the US today. Auto and metals are the big gainers, even as PSU banks drag. Mid-caps at par.
Vishal Mega Mart's 8,000 crore rupee IPO opens today, as does the 3,000 crore rupee offer from Sai Life Sciences and a smaller 570 crore rupee offer from MobiKwik. Large share sales by private investors in Vishal Mega Mart and Sai Life Sciences are a key feature of their offers. Meanwhile, MobiKwik IPO gets fully subscribed on day one.
PNC Infra rallies nearly 10% in trade after its arm, Hathras Highway, completes a HAM project worth 738 crore rupees, which gets cleared for commercial operations.
Avenue Supermarts is under pressure after brokerage firm Goldman Sachs issues a bearish note on the stock. The firm cuts earnings estimates for the company and cuts target of the stock from 4,000 to 3,425 rupees a share.
Orion Pro surges nearly 7% in trade on the back of an order win. The company informs exchanges that it continues expansion in Saudi Arabia with a significant order win.
All right, those are the top headlines for the markets. As we've been pointing out, some of these indices have come off from the highs of the day. The Bank Nifty is in the red right now, but overall, markets have been quite steady. The Nifty is up around 55 points. And after that flattish close that we saw yesterday, there are some gains in the market today. In terms of the sectoral gainers, Nifty Metals continues to do well. The small cap index continues to do well. And those are the ones which are lending support to the market in some way. And we'll talk about the mid-cap space in just a bit with Hormaz, but it's December, towards the end of the year, but we do have decent news flow.
We have quite a lot of news flow, and it's a primary market action that's keeping us very, very busy. Quite a whole host of stocks that are doing quite well. The NBFC pack, Bajaj Finance now near the day's highest point, almost 2.5% higher. The mid-cap cement basket, names like JK Cement, Dalmia Bar are doing quite well. But I'm sure Hormaz has a whole host of other stocks on his radar. Hormaz, you're at the wall. What are the mid-caps that are moving around in the session today?
Well, maybe even the news flow wants us to justify us coming to work every day at the start towards the end of the year. But yes, there are plenty of buzzers within the broader market. Sectoral, specific and railway stocks are making a comeback of sorts. We'll talk about those in just a bit. But for now, Jupiter Wagons is now up 14% as we speak. Titagarh was up at one point around 9%, still holding on to a 7% gain. IRFC Ircon 2 nearing the highest point of the day with gains of close to 5%. And some of the other names that are doing well, the mid-cap pharma basket is doing very well as well. You get IOL Chemicals, Disman, Syngene, all of them trading with gains of close to 3.5% to even 7% for IOL Chemicals. So good going there as well. Some of the other movers then within the broader market space is the infra space. The order wins that these companies received. PNC Infratech is up. 8G Infra is off the highs but still holding on to gains, and Railtel also, it's won almost orders worth around 90 crores in the last few days. So that too is buzzing in today's session. Stocks doing well on the back of volumes, and Carborundum is at the highest point of the day. A slight cool off from there, but Raymond, Latent View, Swan Energy is the top gainer. Then within the mid-cap basket is up around 8% on very high volumes. And lastly, some of the underperformers in today's session, CEAT continues to see profit booking. So does ITI, and Swiggy, after the lock-in period has ended, is recovering slightly from the lows but still down 4%. And of course, you just spoke about DMart not having a good day at the office today. Back to you guys.
Oh yes, it is not, but we'll see which way things go for that particular name. A lot of interest there since the time it has come in the F&O space as well. Thank you so much, Hormaz, for joining us as always and telling us the broader market movers as well. Well, it's a good time to get a technical check on the market. Shivangi Sarda from Motilal Oswal Financial Services is joining in for just that. Shivangi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Tell us, what are the next important levels you're watching out for on the Nifty, the Bank Nifty as well? It has come in for some profit booking.
Thank you so much. Very good afternoon, Sonal and Vivek. Thank you for having me. So we've seen that there has been a comeback of the bulls. And talking about Nifty, we've seen after the consolidation of the last 3 trading sessions and a tug of war, today has been a breather. And from the opening tick, we've seen that buying can be seen slow and steadily. Now, the good part is it is holding above its key 50 exponential moving averages, and volatility index has cooled off, which clearly comforts the bulls at these levels. And we are looking at the upside, so buy and decline to continue over here with the next targets of 24,850 immediately and then 25,000 zones with a support of 24,400 levels for Nifty. Now, talking about Bank Nifty over here, we are expecting the bullish momentum to continue as well. In the opening tick, of course, there were some heavyweights which were a little soft, but right now we're seeing good buying interest in longs addition happening over there as well. So Bank Nifty is also, supporting the ongoing up move. It's clearly respecting 53,000 levels from the last 4 to 5 trading sessions, which indicates that there is strength here. Even though there has been consolidation in both the indices, but they look quite positive. We've seen from the last 3 trading sessions, good amount of longs have been started adding up in Bank Nifty. So buy on decline to continue here as well. Immediately 54,000 is what we're looking at, and then 54,250 with a support of 53,000 levels. So buy on decline to continue.
Shivangi, so you've given your view on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Which are the individual stocks on the radar today?
So individually on my radar, first up is JK Cement, which has given a consolidation breakout of the last 6 trading sessions. Even on a month-on-month basis, we've seen that it has surpassed its previous cluster zone of 4650 odd levels, and now good buying interest is seen over here. Now, even on the daily basis, we've seen a good volume surge over here. And in this series so far, we've seen that, this stock has witnessed good amount of long addition and the price rise has supported the ongoing up move. So, this stock looks quite positive, and even the related sector, which is the real estate space, is also adding a lot of momentum to this sector. So tailwinds here and looking promising for 4950 odd levels, JK Cement, with a support of 4600 zones. Now, the second pick on my radar is Muthoot Finance. We've seen that, this stock is also in momentum from the last 3 trading sessions. On a month-on-month basis, it's given a breakout of the consolidation, and daily we've seen after a long consolidation, the stock has come out with RSI showing positive signs of divergence. So this stock is also looking quite positive, and we're expecting the next up move towards 2160 odd levels with a support of 2020.
Okay, all right, Shivangi. Thank you so much for joining in today and taking us through the technical bets that you have. With that, we'll slip into a short break. As we do that, here's some good news for the viewers. India's business news leader is now click away. Introducing CNBC-TV18's all-new app. Get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, and financial world updates at your fingertips. Download the CNBC-TV18 app now from the Apple Store or Google Play Store. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Mid-Cap Radar. Let's talk about railway stocks. They are in a recovery mode. Hormaz is here to tell us the reason why we are seeing that surge from the lows across the spectrum. Hormaz.
Yeah, it was almost seems like yesterday, right, when railway stocks were making one record high after another, but they have seen a significant correction from those levels, and from those levels that they made in the month of November, they are making a bit of a comeback of sorts. And start off with IRFC, the new FNO entrant, made a low of 137 in November, and since then the stock is up almost 20%. Ircon and Railtel both have recovered almost 27% from the lows that they made in the month of November, and even RVNL with a record high level of almost 650 and made a low of 400 and is recovered around 17% from those levels. But despite this recovery, as I just mentioned, these stocks are still significantly away from their record highs, below their record highs, so to speak. IRFC is down around 30%, Ircon and Railtel too down around 25% each, so is RVNL. So it's still quite a bit of distance they need to cover before they scale new peaks again. Now, what is the recent developments that have taken place? At the start of the month, a lot of these railway names entered the FNO space. The cabinet also approved a slew of railway projects that were up for worth over 8,000 crore rupees. There were 3 of them, and RailTel is making announcements on the exchanges since the 29th of November. The stock has won multiple orders worth almost close to 90 crore rupees as we speak. Now, even BEML over the last couple of days has announced orders with different spaces. Of course, they've won orders worth close to 200 crores. Now, on the valuation front, though, despite the correction, the stocks still are on the expensive side. IRFC at a price to book of 3.8 times. Even Ircon International, RailTel, Ircon is trading above its 5-year average price to earnings multiple, as is RVNL with close to 55 times price to earnings despite a significant correction from the highs of the day. So some sort of recovery seen in the railway stocks, but still quite a bit of way to go.
Thank you so much for that, Hormal. Quite a bit of recovery, but quite a long way to go as far as the railway names are concerned. Well, moving on, let's talk about Greaves Cotton now, which is in focus on the back of new equipment launches. Sudarshan is joining us with more details. Sudarshan, last week, there was news of the subsidiaries IPO. Today, some launches.
Yeah, so before I talk about the today's update, so Greaves Cotton has been in focus for the last few days. This week, in the last 3 days, stock has been up 25%. And it's on the back of 2 updates. First, companies plan to bring in IPO of electric mobility arm. And recently, on Monday, KDA Securities has bought 12 lakh shares via block deals at a price of around ₹209 per share. But talking about news update, there are certain launches that company has made at Conexpo that's being held in Greater Noida. So first, its arm Greaves Retail has launched mini excavator that is in the category of 2 to 4 tons, and it's for heavy duty excavation in challenging conditions. Second launch is electric scissor that has a lift range of 6 to 14 meters, and it comes with the options of both lead acid battery or lithium battery. Both the options are available in this one. Another subsidiary, that is Axle Control Linkage, has showcased products like gear shift levers, cables, and rod shift lever. So these are the launches that company has made at Conexpo. But beyond these updates, what would be the focus? When does company bring in the IPO of electric mobility arm? That's what the investors have been focusing on.
Okay, all right. Greaves Cotton has been surging in last 2 trading sessions, has come in for some profit booking, but still has recovered from the lows of the day. Thank you so much, Sudarshan, for joining in with all those details. It's time to slip into a break now. When we come back, a lot of stocks which are on our radar. We'll talk about them and why they are buzzing in trade.
Welcome back to Midcap Radar. Well, let's now focus on Triveni Engineering, which is under pressure today. The company has announced a restructuring, after which the sugar and distillery verticals will be under one company, while the power transmission business will be demerged and eventually listed on the exchanges as a separate entity. Vamakshi has all the details of the restructuring as well as the valuations.
Well, absolutely, Vivek. The company is in focus on the back of that restructuring, and the first part of it will be that they will be amalgamating Shadi Lal Enterprises into Triveni Engineering. Keep in mind that Shadi Lal Enterprises in itself is a listed company, and they're doing this because both of these companies are manufacturing verticals of sugar and distillery, and this in turn will lead to consolidation of their operations as well as some operational synergies. So therefore, the shareholders of Shadi Lal Enterprises will be receiving 100 equity shares for every 137 shares held, and the calculation based on the closing price yesterday suggests that this is 1% in favor of Shadi Lal Enterprises. The second part of this restructuring is the demerger of the power transmission business into a separately listed entity. This will be housed under Triveni Power Transmission. This will be eventually listed, and the shareholders of Triveni Engineering will receive 2 shares of Triveni Power for every 3 shares that they hold in Triveni Engineering. Now, this in turn will help in unlocking value for the shareholders of Triveni Engineering. Let's look at how the financials of the power transmission business fared. Now, power transmission contributed nearly 5% to the consolidated revenue and 17% to the company's EBITDA in the first half of the FY25 as well, revenues saw an uptick of 18%. EBIT stood at 56.7 crores. This is an uptick of 20%, and margins have expanded by 49% for this particular segment of power transmission. Now, let's also look at the valuations, but before we get to that, let's look at the underlying assumptions that we've considered. We've annualized FY25 EBIT at 113 crores. The average EV to EBIT for similar power transmission businesses are somewhere around 35 times. So therefore, the EV to EBIT multiple that we're ascribing to this is anywhere between 20 to 30 times. So based on this sort of valuation, multiples, the equity value could be anywhere between 2,200 crores to 3,300 crores, and the value per share could lie anywhere between 210 to 318 rupees per share. So therefore, the power transmission business as a whole could be worth almost 20 to 30% of the overall SOTP based on the multiple that is given to it.
Thank you so much for that, Vamakshi, putting sense to the entire restructuring plan of the company and the valuations at which they currently trade at. Well, moving on, one particular stock in the last 15 to 20 minutes of trade that's seen a bit of a spike is actually Office Space Solutions. Today morning, remember, had a very large block deal. Almost 12.2% of the total existing shareholding of the company exchanged hands. And in this particular block deal, 3 private equity investors partially paid their stake, but it's a very large stake, almost 12.2%. Later on today, when the block deal data is out, we will come to know about the buyers as well as the sellers, where there will be a confirmation on the likely sellers in this particular block deal. But post the block deal, it appears as though the demand there was good, and in the last 15 minutes of trade, there's been a very sharp spike as far as Office is concerned.
Okay, yes, so that's about Office. The block deal details are something that we'll be watching out for in the block deal data after market hours today. But it's also time to talk about Hutco. Speaking to my colleague Rachna Dhanrajni on the sidelines of Rajasthan Global Business Expo in Jaipur, the MD and CEO Sanjay Kulshrestha says that the company is hopeful that PM Awas Yojana 2.0 will come up with big plans for infrastructure in the country. Listen into that conversation.
We are very hopeful that PMAY 2.0 will come up with a big plan of the infrastructure in the country.
But NPAs continue to remain a concern for Hutco. How do you sort of plan to tread that?
Let me update on this aspect. I think our NPA is one of the lowest in the industry, and we are committed that within 2 years our net NPA will be 0. Presently our net NPA is only 0.31. So during this year only we want that it will come below 0.3, and the gross NPA is only 2.42. So for FY25 I am very hopeful that it will come around 2.3%. So if you see the other players in the financial segment, Hutco has a we have a lowest NPA, that I can make a statement.
Right. What other areas of growth are you looking for the next fiscal, or what are the sectors that you're targeting, or geography?
We are a company which provides entire spectrum of the infrastructure funding. So I don't think any segment has left behind. So green shoots are there, yes, because there are green opportunities are coming, and we want to work towards the carbon capturing mechanism, because carbon is the biggest concern, and Honorable Prime Minister has committed that we should be net zero by 2070, and every industry and every industry is working towards that goal only. And the Viksit Bharat theme is very, very defined kind of themes, and whatever the company is doing or
is there a breakup of the capex? How much would be dedicated towards green?
If you say at least 50% of the capex will go towards the green and the social sector, because if you see, the green and the social are one and the same thing. They are the part of the coin only.
All right, that's the word coming in from Hutco on what their plans are going forward. For the markets continues to be steady at those levels when we started the show. Some stock-specific moves that we'll of course discuss, but for now we'll take your leave on this edition of Midcap Radar. Your stocks when we return.